Hey everybody, and thank you for tuning into Woodcrest Bonsai. Today I'm going to repot this tiger bark Ficus retusa. The common name is Cuban laurel, but in the bonsai community most people just call it retusa. And the tiger bark stems from the fact that there are striations in the bark that resemble tiger stripes. So this is a pretty nice tree. It's got a nice canopy. It has a fairly loose branching structure. And there's some things about it I don't like. Like right now it needs something in here. So I'm just going to do a simple wiring like that. Just to bring that down. I'm not going to do anything major. And I would also like some of this here to grow out so the canopy is a little bit wider. But the reason I'm repotting it is because it's in a way too small of a pot. Typically, a bonsai pot, you should try to approximate that the pot is 2/3, the length of the pot is 2/3 the height of the tree. So I have my handy dandy tape measure here, and if we do the height of the tree, it's 21 inches. So 2/3 of that would be 14. This pot is only 11. So the tree has just basically grown out of the pot. So I've chosen 5 different pots, and I've already decided the one I'm going to use, but I'm just going to show you the process. So here's one here that is just about as shallow. I'm going to yank this guy out of here and just stick him in there. It's just about as shallow, but it is only 13 inches. And it's still a little shallow. It would probably work okay, but I'm not going to use that one. And we've got this one here, which I believe is the perfect 14 inches that we could put here. It's also very shallow, and that would make a decent pot for this tree too. Then we've got this big guy here, which is also exactly 14 inches, but it's much deeper. So maybe I can just stick the tape measure down there and balance him on there. That's going to be a trick, eh? Anyway, something like that. So this is a much heavier pot. Another rule of bonsai that you try to follow is that the thickness of the pot should equal the thickness of the trunk. Right now it's got this aerial root that has thickened considerably, and eventually it will fuse with the main trunk and form a big thick trunk. But that's going to be a while, especially if I keep it into a bonsai pot. The only way to really get that to thicken quickly is to put the tree into a huge training pot or in the ground and just let the tree grow crazy, which then you lose the form, and I like the form. So this pot works as far as length, but I think it's a little bit too deep. So we have one more, which is the one I've decided on, and that is this guy here. Now this one's a little bit bigger. It's 15 inches, and it looks visually deeper, but if you look here, the inside depth of the pot is no deeper than the pot it was already in, because it's still right at just the edge. So I'm going to let it grow into this pot, and I think that that's going to be a nice pot for this tree. There's a couple other things I'm going to try to do. It has this circling root right here that I was going to cut, but then I'm afraid But that's going to make the trunk look too small, so I'm going to attempt to pull it out of here and bring it forward so it's in here somewhere. And then the aerial root has split into two, and this also follows the curve of the old pot, and I'm going to do my best to get it to come out into here. And before I do any of that, I'm going to just wire this guy down just a little, just like that, which will give it, visually it'll be a little fuller this way. Not much else I can do over there, but I can definitely wire this guy down. And I also need to prepare the pot. This pot here has two huge drain holes which need to be covered. And then I've got my soil ready to go. And then we'll start on putting it into the new pot. I've got the two pieces of mesh cut, and these are pretty big holes, so I cut the mesh. You want to go at least 1/4 of an inch past how big the hole is. Then I've just got some old wire, and what I do is you want to make sure that you poke it through the holes that are the closest to the edge of the hole, so that it will be secure. Then put it down like that, create a staple like this, and obviously this is longer than the other, but that's not that big of a deal as long as it holds. And you place it down there, grab that guy, and then just pull the two pieces apart so that they secure the mesh to the pot. And that's about it. So here's another piece of wire. Make sure that you have the wire as close to the edge of the hole. So that's right there. So put it right like that. Make the staple. Put it back down into the hole. And then pull them apart. And those are now secure. So the next stage is to take some of the soil off of the old root ball. And I'm going to use a tray for that. So I'm going to take the pot away. Put this tray here. I'm going to need to treat like that. And I have my root hook. And it's just a matter of pulling the roots apart. Got some small circling roots, so they will come off. Like I said, I'm going to do my best to get this root to come this way and get this root to come this way. And you see, that doesn't look like it's going to be that difficult for that one. And this guy might be a little more difficult. Still seems to be attached over here. And that's about it for getting the roots. Now we're going to cut away some of this stuff. If you watch any of my videos, I know I try to avoid circling roots at all costs. And since it's July and it's basically the middle of summer, this guy's going to just grow like crazy into that new pot. So that's not that bad. Not that many roots got removed. And I think I'm going to put my gloves on, and I forgot them over at the shed. So, because I just hate getting the sap on my fingers. It's just nasty. So I'll be back. Got my gloves on, and I've already moved this root, and that did pretty well. Now we've got this root here, and I want it about like that, and you see it tore right there, so that'll make a scar, but I think that's going to be okay. It will heal in no time. Ficus are like that. And now I have to take this glove off so I can put the soil in there. Now it's just a matter of filling it with new bonsai soil. This soil is a little more coarse than the mix that the tree was in. So that's okay. I'm holding this root down so that I can get enough soil around it so it doesn't snap back. So that's pretty good. And I know it's coming right at us, but it's better than having it circling around. When I'm adding new fresh soil, I try to get it in all the spaces. I don't normally use a chopstick. And we need to spin it around to get the back. And also, if you noticed, I placed it pretty much right at the edge, the left edge, because the trunk usually wants to be about a third of the way across the pot. And this trunk is kind of funky because it's got this guy. So I placed the old root ball all the way over to the edge here so that it's got some semblance of being on the third. This kind of changes all that. And then when I do my soil, I don't normally make a mound, because if you make a huge mound of soil, then heavy rain or some aggressive watering, it's all just going to wash away anyway. So I don't usually let the tree just make its own mound as it grows over time. So that's about it. Let me get the soil out of the way. Take my other glove off. And so I did also wire this branch down. And I'm going to need to back up a little bit. Well, maybe I can just move the tree. And the tray and everything. So, still need to back up some. There you go, a brand new repotted Ficus retusa. And I think the pot really sets it off nicely. I still would like to bring this branch down a little more, but for now, that's okay. And then further development, I want to get this little growth to come out here so that the tree has a more symmetrical canopy. And that will happen. Just let these little guys here grow and pinch off the top, keep it from growing, and let this grow in. And that won't take long at all. Ficus grow pretty fast. I had a camera glitch, so it's now about half an hour later, and the sun is now up over the trees and super bright sunshine. So there's a lot of shadow against the wall. So I apologize for that. But I think the repotting has worked quite nicely. It's definitely in better proportions now. And now I'm going to let, oh, and I also wired here. And I'm going to let this stuff here grow out so it's got a fuller canopy. The cut here, the scar from where I ripped this root out of there, and it's still sort of facing forward, so you know, the jury's still out on that. I may actually add some rooting hormone to that and see if I can get some more roots, because we're missing a whole bunch of roots just in here. There's just nothing. But I'm pretty happy with it. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and you can watch this guy continue to develop. And I want to say that this may not necessarily be the finished pot for this tree. Many times, as bonsais grow and evolve, you may need to change the pots numerous times over the life of the tree. But this is definitely an improvement over that really small pot that it was in. And the next time I work this tree, the next video will probably be more refinement of the top. So I hope you like the repotting process. And once again, like, subscribe, leave a comment if you'd like. And thanks for watching. And I will see you in the next video.